Hey YouTube, it's Kofi, aka Dr. Kofi now, and I just wanted to show you guys the doctorate that I worked so hard for. Yay! I am a Juris Doctor. That means I went to law school and completed law school. And I'm honestly very proud of myself. This is one of the few things in life where I'm really like, I really did that. I kept my grades up, and then I went to law school. And then I finished law school, because, you know, getting in is one thing, staying is another. So, I also wanted to talk to you guys about some basics concerning what it is like being an autistic person daily, what autism means for me, okay? So, and I've been putting off making videos because I feel like I've been such a perfectionist about this whole like YouTube thing, because normally I'm on TikTok. I make these little videos that are a few seconds, and sometimes when I'm watching other people's videos on YouTube, they're just so put together. They have a whole like slideshow, but I really just want to talk to you guys. I mean, okay, so I'm Kofi, I'm 24, and I'm very excited for Halloween this year. I love spooky season, and there are so many scary movies coming out, and I love to go and see them, especially with other people who like spooky movies. Something that's been helping with my executive dysfunction surrounding cooking and preparing food is meal prepping. I've been meal prepping for I think 2 weeks now, and it's been going pretty well because I'm autistic and because I have such a small select few of different types of food that I eat. I don't mind eating the same thing every day, though I will be changing it up soon just so I don't get bored with it, because I really want to keep these meal preps in my life. It's just been such a load off not having to worry about what to eat that day and then having to cook it, and because by the time I realize I'm hungry, my stomach will like physically growl and I'm like, I need to eat something now. I don't think I can wait until I cook something. So it's nice to just have that waiting for me in the fridge. The meal preps I've been making, they're chicken breast over jasmine rice and sauteed kale with garlic. I think it's pretty good. And then for the chicken and rice, I make this pour over sauce of like honey, soy sauce, cayenne pepper, and ginger, and add a splash of water in there and just cook it all down into that sauce. And I just pour that over the chicken and rice every day, and I really like it. It's tasty, and it's not something I usually get tired of. I know some people have major sensory issues with meat and chicken, so you could always switch that out to a different meat and make the recipe work for you. I think meal preps could really help as an autistic person. So, I need a stim toy. Here's my stim toy for today. It's the pop socket. Not pop socket, that's for your phone. The popper. Okay, so in the daily life of an autistic person, having to find something to eat and eating, those are not always easy tasks, okay? First of all, you have to struggle with the absence of your hunger cues. Some people struggle with that. I struggle with that. I don't know what it is that I just keep procrastinating food, but I know that a lot of autistic people do it because I've talked to so many autistic people from TikTok. I think it has to do with executive dysfunction, but that's one way that you can help. Another way that autism causes me to struggle day to day is like, I wake up, okay, from my deep sleep. I've always been a heavy sleeper. Some people have insomnia though, some autistic people. And I go to wash my face immediately because I have oily skin and I cannot stand the feeling of the oil on my face. Some people have dry or oily skin and you might not like the feeling of that, but because I'm so sensitive to it with my sensory issues, like I really can't focus on anything else until I do that. So I go and I take care of my needs. When I wash my face, I hate the feeling of water running down my arms. So I use these were on my TikTok channel. I shared them with people, and these are wrist puffs. I just got these on Amazon for like a few dollars, and I have 2 of these, but I put them on each wrist, okay? And so when you wash your face in the sink, it causes it prevents the water from going down your forearm. It makes like a really uncomfortable feeling for a lot of autistic people. And so this wrist puff, stops it from flowing down. And that's been a huge help for me. That seems like such a little thing, but it makes all the difference for someone with sensory issues like me, okay? So I wash my face, brush my teeth, you know, do all that. I'm usually a night shower because, I mean, morning showers can be really great and give you a fresh start, but I need my coffee for sure before I take a shower if I'm gonna morning shower. I need to have energy to shower because sometimes for a lot of people on the spectrum, taking a shower is not easy, especially if it's an everything shower. It will take all your energy. If you're doing an everything shower, that means you do your hair, you wash your entire body, maybe you shave or do whatever else you need to do in the shower. That will take up a lot of energy. And as an autistic person, my first priority when I wake up in the morning is like, how can I get my tasks accomplished or get anything accomplished, period, without draining all of my energy. Because some people think of energy in terms of spoons, right? I wake up with 10 spoons. The average neurotypical might wake up with 20 spoons. So I wake up with 10 spoons only. And certain tasks, depending on how strenuous or social, will take off however many spoons. So I know that if I take a shower and I don't have caffeine in my system and I have no energy, that's gonna take off a few spoons. For the average person, it might only take off 1 or maybe none. Maybe they feel energized by the shower. I just shower to get clean. It's nice to relax though, but I do struggle with bathtubs. And it's because of, I always get in, right? I set everything up. I've got my soap, my bubbles, my blip, blip, blip. And then I get in the bathtub. And I don't realize how hot it is until I'm already about to pass out. Like, I get so hot. I don't know if it's the steam that comes up from the water. I think it feels good for like a little while. And then before my brain can pick up that I'm too hot, I'm way too hot and I have to get out. So I end up only taking a bath for like a few minutes when it was a nice setup and really should have been enjoyed for like an hour or so. But it's hard for me to take baths because of that. And I'm kind of so jealous of people who can take super relaxing baths. Maybe to help that issue, a good idea would be to get a thermometer to test the bath water so you can decide exactly how hot it should be for you to be able to stay in. So I might try that. Because I want to enjoy my baths. Everyone else does. And what's after that? Okay, clean yourself, do bathroom stuff, and then maybe you have to find something to eat. Finding something to eat, as I just discussed, can be kind of complicated, especially if you have ARFID, which a lot of autistic people do. ARFID, A-R-F-I-D, stands for Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, I believe. But it's called ARFID, and it's not an eating disorder that is based around what your image is. It's an eating disorder based around what foods are safe and not safe. We know that autistic people, if you don't know already, often have safe foods. And safe foods are foods that you feel comfortable eating. And then unsafe foods are foods that you don't like. You don't like the texture of them. You don't like the taste of them. There's just a lot of food that I don't like. Anytime I go to a fast food restaurant, I get the same thing. I have an order ready. If I've been to that restaurant before, I have an order ready. It's just my safe food for wherever I am. So, but you may struggle with finding something safe for yourself to eat, and you might struggle with preparing something for yourself to eat because of all the textures that are involved. And usually by the time we're hungry, we're out of energy, right? We're like, I'm so hungry, but I'm also so tired. Like, how am I gonna cook something? So it can be overwhelming for a lot of people on the spectrum. For some on the spectrum, it may not even be a problem. Like, maybe cooking is your special interest. Maybe you're just about that, you know? But it can be hard for us that aren't like that. After eating, you probably have your activities to do throughout the day. Those will differ from person to person. But maybe you go to work, or maybe it's a weekend and you're trying to get errands done, and that can be hard if you've used your spoons already. You know what? Sometimes people ask me, what was it like being diagnosed? And I don't know if I want to share that, because it was such a vulnerable time for me, and I was so dissociated and burnt out during that time, and I felt so hopeless. I don't know if I want to share that. So, but I can share that this doctor in particular, this mental health professional who diagnosed me, was so helpful, because I think that she had more insight into what it was like to be a woman on the spectrum who went undiagnosed, because I know that her daughter was on the spectrum and was a little younger or a little older than me. And I think that she knew, as a mother of an autistic girl who went undiagnosed, what to look for. And I think that helped me a lot, because so many people are afraid of coming forward and saying, oh, I think I'm on the spectrum, and having that mental health professional say, no way, that's not possible. Like, you don't look autistic, or that's something dumb people say. You don't look autistic, or that's just an offensive thing to say. Like, what does it mean to look autistic? What does that mean? But that's something a lot of, especially women of color here, who were diagnosed late or who aren't diagnosed. Like, it can't possibly be so that a black woman is autistic, or that a woman is autistic. So, something else that can be hard for someone on the spectrum is the socialization that has to do with all of your tasks throughout the day. Every little socialization will cost you one or more spoons. And as much as I love the people who are in my life, like I love my loved ones, it can be hard even talking to people personal to you. And it can take energy. Even happy things can take energy from you. So I feel like day to day, from my perspective as an autistic person, the hardest thing is balancing where to put your energy, deciding where to put your energy and what's not worth it or when you should try harder. And there is also the struggle of being and feeling misunderstood all of the time. It can be very lonely as an autistic person because I tend to be a recluse socially. I tend to be socially isolated, but you can also become lonely in that habit. So it becomes this vicious cycle of self-isolation and then loneliness, and you may not even recognize the loneliness. Because for me, when I was most lonely, looking back and thinking, oh, I was lonely then, when I was in it, I had no idea that what I was feeling was loneliness. I just felt like, it kind of felt like boredom. I think it kind of felt like boredom, but I also didn't feel like I wanted to socialize, because by then, if I don't socialize for a long while, then I get so, like, my social skills regress and I don't really want to hang out with people. So even when I'm lonely, I don't feel the urge to be, it's not as simple as, oh, I need to hang out with somebody, I need to go party and have friends. I self-isolate and then I want to just do things by myself now. I don't really feel the urge to go hang out with people. And I think it's that way for a lot of people on the spectrum. Isolation and social exposure can both be very difficult. But these are some of the ways that autism affects me day to day. And I say this because sometimes you can tell someone, a friend for example, that you have autism, and they don't really know what that means. Maybe this person is willing to accept you and they say like, oh, this doesn't change the way I see you and I respect you as you are. Even if they give the most respectful response, they may still not know what autism is. And in contrast, there may be people who stop talking to you altogether once you're diagnosed, which is ridiculous because you're the same person, right? And there are some people who may kind of back off from social interactions with you because they've heard or you've told them about your autism. And honestly, if they're gonna do that, you don't want them in your life anyway, so let them go. And I promise you that you can find friends, whether in person or online, who are on the spectrum as well. And I recommend this because it is such a load off not having to worry about being neurodivergent around other people who are neurodivergent. And those spaces are so valued to me, those social spaces where I can be around neurodivergent people. For a while, I had a support group that I went to. It was on Zoom, and it was once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I really liked it. It was just nice to, after dealing with neurotypicals all week, be in a group chat where I could see and speak to other autistic people. So I really recommend having autistic friends or other or friends who are neurodivergent in other ways. You may meet these at school. There are lots of people who I've met from school who are neurodivergent and interested in a lot of the same things I'm interested in, like psychology. Who else? Well, I like to do archery. Archery is one of my special interests, but I don't think I've met anyone who's into archery at school. What's another one of my special interests? I love art. I've met people from school who like art too. I love art. I've been doing some art lately. I'm trying to do something for my mental health every once in a while because it seems to really help me. I do recommend doing something creative every once in a while, especially if you're on the spectrum. It's just very nice to feel so free, and art doesn't have any rules, and I love that about it. There are no social norms to follow, and you can just create whatever feeling you exude onto the page, or whatever you're painting. You might be painting an object. Just do something creative and don't pressure yourself. It also helps me a lot with my perfectionism, and if you're on the spectrum, you may be a perfectionist as well, though that's not a specific that's not criteria under the DSM-5, but you may be a perfectionist, and as well if you struggle with all or nothing thinking like I do at times. Something else I struggle with day to day, like when I was talking about the bathtub earlier and how I get too hot immediately, it's the temperature regulation issue that a lot of people on the spectrum struggle with. It can be so hard to tell the way that your physical body feels in the moment before it becomes like a larger problem. For example, I've been going to the doctor a lot lately for things that I've put off just because I didn't really realize it was a huge problem until it became like a bigger problem. Like once, or pushing myself too hard is another issue I have with it. So just, you have to always be aware of I constantly have to be aware for my own safety of how I'm feeling in that moment, and then what to do about it. And I always have to be tending for myself. It's like, but consciously. Some people do that subconsciously, but I don't. And a lot of people who are autistic do not do that either. So I think that's the first tip I would give to anyone who thought they were on the spectrum, is figure out how your body feels in certain situations. When I was socializing, I caught myself physically like tensing up. Like physically, my muscles would just tense up. One of my first days of law school, I went and I was sitting next to a girl in class, and she just said, "Hey, can you stop that?" Like to me. And I said, "Stop what?" And she said, your leg, you've been bouncing it so hard." And then some other new students that I met, they pointed out too, they're like, "Kofi, you're always fidgeting, like your leg is always bouncing." They weren't trying to be mean, but they did point it out. They're like, "What is that?" And I just said, "It's from anxiety." Because it was true. It's my coping mechanism usually when I'm in public and I have a lot of tenseness, and I'm very, very tense. I see you'll be in class, but the tables are covering your legs. So the only place, visible, like from here up, that's not visible, I can just be bouncing my leg and nobody will see it unless, of course, you're right next to me and the person next to you wants you to stop bouncing your leg. But I find it very soothing also. It's not always when I'm nervous. It's just stimming. It's just a different way to stim, a less obvious way to stim. Some people might click their pens or draw or stim in other ways. But those are some of the things that I struggle with day to day. One tip for accomplishing your tasks that I've learned is basic positive reinforcement. What is something you like? Something small that you can give to yourself as a reward for after doing your task. I have some stickers that I really like. It sounds kind of kindergartnery, but I really do like them. If you get some of the really pretty journaling stickers and put it in your journal, I recommend. I really enjoy it. I think everyone on the spectrum should meal prep. It's been a nice time for me, and it's helped me stay nourished when I don't want to get up and cook food right then and there. It's also much cheaper, but yeah. I think someone in the comments had asked my special interest. My special interests are art, for sure. That's always been something I've loved since I was a little girl. And I really like weapons. I like archery. I'm not really into guns. I kind of like the way that bows and arrows look, as well as the way that you get them to shoot. I have a traditional bow and I have a compound bow, and I think they're so beautiful. No crossbows. And I actually really like knives, like throwing knives. I think some knives can be fashioned so beautifully, and I just appreciate the architecture of them. And I like that, I guess I just like beautiful, dangerous things. What else do I like? My special interests have really evolved through the years. At one point, it was Cats the musical. The one from 91 or 92. Not the new one. The new Cats is so bad. I can't believe they released that film. But when I was a kid, I really loved Cats. And honestly, I don't mind to watch the original Cats. It's still entertaining to me. I like to journal. I journal my feelings every once in a while, and that keeps me very level-headed, and it helps me to see how I'm actually feeling about things. Or if you read back over what you've written, it can give you a good third-party perspective of what's happened, and it's very helpful. I've been gardening. I have an herb garden now. It has basil, lavender, cilantro, mint. I'm growing some lettuce now. It should be very good. I've been loving doing hydroponic gardens. I tried to grow mushrooms, but they failed in the last stage. I was so sad. They got contaminated. That's a whole process of like creating a grow bag and mixing the substrate. So I'm gonna try that again soon. How have I been doing lately? I've been doing okay. I went through a period of stress not too long ago, like a really intense period of stress. And so I met with my psychiatrist and we worked things out. So that's good. I'm trying to really take accountability for my body and my health. I've been working out every day. I do a lot of fitness stuff, particularly yoga. I really enjoy yoga. I do it every day. It helps my chronic pain because I have chronic pain in my neck and shoulders, and like upper back area. I do yoga to really ease those muscles. And it also, because there are different types of yoga. You can get something really light and relaxing or something intense. And yoga really does help me figure out where I'm feeling tense in my body. And I recommend that any autistic person do that. because we have such stressful lives and need to relax and let all of that go. And it just feels so good to, even if you start stretching in general, it feels so great to just let loose like that first thing in the morning, or especially before you go to bed, and you'll wake up feeling so much better. I really recommend it. I'm trying to do things that I enjoy because I think that can be helpful when you're an autistic person, is to do things every once in a while. Make sure you do something you enjoy, because our special interests and what we love, we just have to live in that. We have to enjoy those moments because they're so precious to us. And when we're down, those will be the things that help us feel good about life again. So I'm gonna go to the archery range soon. Can't wait. I hope you guys found some of this helpful. I hope you'll stretch or meal prep or try to do just a little bit of beginner yoga to feel how you're feeling in your body. And I hope that if you're having a sensory issue, we can talk about that and provide a solution for it, like I did with the water running down my arms and the wrist puffs. Maybe if that bothers you too, you can do that. I think that's it, you guys. I think that's it.